So is this album an improvement over Holy Diver, or does it merely bask in its predecessor's glory? Summer of 1984, Dio, the legendary band led by Ronnie James Dio, was about to release their second studio album, The Last in Line. This wasn't just any album release. There was a lot of anticipation with this new album. There were rumors of a new keyboardist joining the band, Claude Schnell from the band Rough Cutt, and this added a new element of sound. Fans and critics alike were on the edge of their seats, wondering if this album could surpass the monumental success of its predecessor, Holy Diver. The album soared the Last in Line charts, reaching on July 2nd. It was very successful, and number 23 in the US. But metal fans were wondering, could this be better than Holy Diver? The songs had haunting melodies, blistering guitar solos, and Dio's vocals, as well as lyrics about power and fantasy. The album's commercial success was undeniable. By September 12, 1984, it had been certified gold, selling over 500,000 units. But the success didn't stop there. On February 3, 1987, Last in Line achieved the coveted platinum certification, a feat that solidified its place in heavy metal history. In the UK, it earned silver certification in January 1986, standing shoulder to shoulder with Holy Diver as the only two Dio albums to reach such heights. Let's look at Rate Your Music. On this site, Holy Diver has an average score of 3.87 out of 5, and Last in Line has an average score of 3.77 out of 5. Holy Diver had 11,000 ratings, but Last in Line had just under 5,000 ratings. Let me read a 5-star review from a user named Death Metal Doll. 1984's The Last in Line is a perfect continuation of Dio's first album, Holy Diver. In essence, songwriting quality, and even in sound, despite this one doesn't include a song as awesome as Holy Diver. But on the other hand, it still has astonishing tracks like Evil Eyes, Mystery, The Last in Line, or a personal favorite of mine, One Night in the City. Add to those brilliant heavy metal songs some very solid tracks like Breathless, We Rock, or Egypt, The Chains Are On, and you've got another 80s metal masterpiece. As we can see here, it is implied that this user holds Last in Line almost on equal footing as Holy Diver. Then there was another user named Nahorf who gave it a slightly lower score. This person said, "Why Dio's solo band is so praised by the metal community remains a mystery to me. Sure, I like this album and Holy Diver as well, but I can't understand why are those records hailed as absolute masterpieces of heavy metal. I really can't. Anyways, The Last in Line is a solid record, containing 9 typical heavy metal tunes. In fact, all the elements that made heavy metal what it is are present here. The stunning vocals, the astounding guitar solos, the heavy riffs, and the catchy drum lines. Plus the inaudible bass, but oh well." So, first of all, I disagree about the bass thing. I'll mention that later on. But it's also implied this person felt the albums were about equal, even though the person had more of a negative opinion. Now we have another user named Nazar Sergigovic who says, "It's like a Holy Diver Part 2. For example, As Speed of Night is Stand Up and Shout Part 2, or Mystery with its keyboard riff is Rainbow in the Dark Part 2, but it's still worth your time." So yeah, we can assume that the band was trying to follow the formula of their first album. So let me talk about one more. This is by the user Puff the Magic Dragon 666. He says, "This is basically Mob Rules 2, an inferior version of its predecessor, very similar in style, with weaker and less memorable songwriting. The good thing is that it sounds like Holy Diver leftovers. Sacred Heart sounded like The Last in Line leftovers, and so on." So this person assumes that Holy Diver and Last in Line are album pairs in the same way that Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules are. They also assume that the second album in both pairs is weaker than the other one, consisting of leftover tracks. So it was an interesting experiment. A lot of the reviewers felt the need to compare it to the previous album. So if you go to the site, Rate Your Music, you can see that for yourself. Let's talk about the meanings behind some of the most important songs on the album. First, let's start with the title track. So you might be wondering, what does Last in Line really mean? One interpretation is that it's about good and evil and the search for the truth. The only way we really know if we're evil or divine is when we die and see who stands before us, either God or Satan. This will be the first time we ever know. So let me read a quote from Ronnie James Dio for further clarification. The song has different interpretations. You could be the last in line, meaning, oh shit, all the good stuff is already gone. Or you could be the last, the strongest. And to me, it's always been that. The perseverance that comes from going through challenges in life. And when you get to the end, you're the last one standing. You ask yourself, was it worth it? You better say yes, because that's going to be my answer. So you may be wondering, what is the song We Rock about? You're probably thinking the song is obviously about rock and roll. Dio sings about the fans coming out to his shows and having a great time. Here's another quote from Ronnie James Dio. Quickly written at Caribou Studios at 12,000 feet in the Colorado Rockies, where we spent 3 months recording The Last in Line in 1984. It took us a month to figure out how to breathe. We were so high. It was a very spiritual place. The snow, trees, the elk running around outside our door. We were playing pool one afternoon and I said, we rock, because that's what we do. Voila, another anthem. Now, my personal opinion, one of my favorite songs of the album is Egypt, and this is also one of my favorite songs by Dio of all time. So let's hear what Ronnie James Dio has to say about Egypt. It was the people in chains taken from their home and made slaves, who built the pyramids, not the architect or the pharaoh. This is what the people are saying. We don't know what to do. What's happening here? At the end of the song, it's over, and now what? Wait a minute. We're free. And away they go, no longer slaves. The chains are an illusion. Now let's talk more about the songs again one more time. We'll start at the beginning, again with, go back to We Rock. It's an awesome song. Now, usually when I listen to music, I tend to focus on the guitar and the vocals, but for some reason, my mind was focusing on the drums. I think they're really good on this track. I don't know if anyone else noticed it, but it's a really great drum track, and I recommend you listen to the song just to focus on that. Then there's a song, Last in Line, and the one thing I noticed is that they added some keyboards. So it kind of softens the sound a little bit, but Ronnie James Dio makes up for it with his really powerful vocals. So I think his vocals are the things that makes it heavy. And my second observation is that it has one of the most iconic guitar solos on the album. So definitely it's a really good one. Then there's the song Breathless. I think it's an underrated song. The two things that stand out again are the vocals and the catchiness of the song. The band knew how to write memorable songs that could be played on the radio. They were still heavy, but they could also be appreciated by a typical rock music fan. There's a song, A Speed at Night, and this one pretty much says what it is in the title. The kind of song you want to listen to while driving in your car, and it's also very representative of the speed metal of the 80s when bands just wanted to play really fast and show off how talented they were. Then there's a song, One Night in the City. This one has a few things going for it. First of all, shout out to Jimmy Bain, because you can really hear his bass playing on the track. Secondly, I like the lyrics. They reminded me of Skid Row's 18 in Life, which would come out maybe 5 years later, so I'm wondering if Skid Row was influenced by this song. And thirdly, a shout out to those demonic voices used towards the end, because they really work well in songs by this band. After this is a song called Evil Eyes. On the surface, it's a typical heavy metal song. It has a hard-driving rhythm, it has powerful vocals, everything you would expect. But if you listen closely, you can hear these keyboards play during the chorus section. They almost sound like these prog rock keyboards, so I like that aspect of it. It's a really good song, another one that doesn't get talked about too much. After this, a song called Mystery. This one was more radio friendly, a little more commercial sounding, more along the lines of album-oriented rock. It has a sound they would use more in the next album called Sacred Heart. Still a good song, I like it. It's very catchy and memorable, and that's just what it is. The second to last song is called Eat Your Heart Out. This is some typical heavy metal, maybe a little heavier than the previous song, but at the same time, it had a very radio-friendly and commercial sound. I like the song a lot. Let me give a second shout out to bass player Jimmy Bain, because there's a really cool section during the last minute of the song where he gets to show off his bass playing skills. So I like that part. The last song is Egypt, The Chains Are On. Not only my favorite song on the album, but my favorite song by the band and one of my favorite heavy metal songs of the 1980s. I like it for many reasons. It's a big song. It's very epic. There's a lot of different sections to the song. It keeps you interested throughout the 7-minute runtime. Then there's a topic. It's about history. I like when metal songs talk about real events, talking about history. I like that aspect of it. And it's the type of song that sounds like it could have been played by Rainbow and put on their 1976 album called Rising. It had that type of sound similar to Stargazer, and I think the lyrical content is similar as well. And there's also a little bit of a progressive rock aspect. Can't say good enough things about it. I can go on, but these videos are getting long, so let me wrap it up. In conclusion, for me, I feel this album is on par with Holy Diver. It's hard for me to pick which one I like better. I would have to do another video where I do a comparison and give each song a score, or do a song by song, something like that. But as of now, I'm going to say it's equally good as Holy Diver. So let me know in the comments which one you like better, Last in Line or Holy Diver. So I'm interested in seeing your thoughts. In the meantime, check out my video for Holy Diver. I recorded it last year when it was celebrating 40 years. So here it is, right over there. Thanks for watching. Please give this video a like. Please hit the bell for notifications so you will be updated every time I upload a video. You can follow me on Facebook. You can follow me on TikTok. I have some different content over there. Links in the video description. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.